and Dominaria United spoiler hype number 6. So we left off with Chaotic Transformation, a sorcery that can get rid of a bunch of stuff to get different stuff. So next up we have another of the legends retold in, or at least I believe it's the commander card and not an actual legends retold. It's Shannon Sleeper's Scourge. It's 1 red, 1 white, 1 black, and 1 colorless for a 2/4 legendary human knight with menace. Other legendary creatures you control have menace. Whenever you play a legendary land or cast a legendary spell, you draw a card and lose a life. So it costs you to play legendaries, but if you get them out, they all have menace, so they're harder to block. So a card that cares about legendaries. And speaking of legendaries, here's another one. Zaryam, Golden Wind. This is for 1 white and 3 colorless. You get a legendary, a 3/4 legendary griffin with flying. Whenever a griffin you control deals combat damage to a player, create a 2/2 white griffin creature token with flying. Griffins, griffins, and more griffins. Okay, give me a second to adjust. Okay, next up, another super powerful card that is just awesome. This is Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant. 1 black, 1 red, and 5 colorless for a 6/6 flying haste. Legendary dragon skeleton. Whenever Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker for each creature card in your graveyard, create a 2/2 zombie knight creature token with menace. So if you've got a card that cares about creatures, if you've got a deck that cares about creatures in your graveyard, there's something for it. So next up are another group of super powerful cards that people are really going to enjoy. First up is Cadrick, Soul Kindler. 1 red, 1 white, and 2 colorless for a 4/3 legendary dwarf wizard. It says the legend rule doesn't apply to tokens you control. So if you're playing with Stang, with the new Stang, your legendary creature, the legendary rule doesn't apply. So listen to what else he says on Cadrick. It says, whenever another non-token legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 colorless. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it. That token gains haste and sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. There's a number of legendary creature tokens. Guinevere, Stang. I mean, I can't remember all of them, but I know at least those 2. So yeah, you get more. More is better. And next up, this thing, absolutely insane. This is Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. 1 colorless mana for a legendary artifact with flash. If a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. Oh, you're going to play Allrun's Epiphany? you're going to play a card that's going to give you an extra turn? You play Time Walk or something like that? Nope. You don't get that extra turn. It also says, for 4 colorless mana, and tap it and exile it, exile Gerard's Hourglass Pendant, return to the battlefield tapped all artifact, creatures, enchantments, and land cards in your graveyard that were put from the battlefield this turn. Oh, you just Wrath of God everything? All my permanents went away? You just put all my permanents in the graveyard? Oh, I'll just flash this in for 1 mana, pay 4 mana, tap it, and exile it, and bring them all back. Whoopsie! It's an anti-board wipe artifact. Hoo-ha! Next up is Moira, Herborg Haunt. 1 black and 2 colorless for a 3/2 legendary spirit wizard with menace. Whenever Moira Herborg Haunt deals combat damage to a player, return to the battlefield target creature card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Okay, you've got a creature that somebody just used a removal spell on. No, you attack with this, and it has menace, so it's harder to block. So if it deals combat damage, your creature that you just got rid of comes back. Next up is the Peregrine Dynamo. 3 colorless mana for a legendary artifact creature construct that's a 1/5 with haste. And for 1 colorless mana, tap and copy target activated or triggered ability you control from another legendary source that's not a commander. You may choose new targets for the copy. So basically a forked activated trigger or triggered ability. And that also, includes abilities from, and these are, only from legendary sources, but that includes from planeswalkers as well. So yeah, there's a fun thing to have. Next up is Verac Warped Singear. 1 white, 1 black, and 1 colorless for a 2/2 legendary vampire with flying, death touch, and lifelink. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, if life was paid to activate it, you may pay that much life again. If you do, copy that ability, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Okay, that could be interestingly useful, especially if you're playing with some of the Phyrexian ability that you can pay the Phyrexian mana for. Next up is a powerful equipment in the Reaver Cleaver. 1 red and 2 for a legendary artifact equipment that says equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, create that many treasure tokens and equip for 3. So if you're playing down here, where'd he go again? He disappeared on me. There he is. Astor, Bearer of Blades, which reduces your equipment cost down to 1. That could be super useful if you put that just on him. And he makes it a 5/5. And if And if he gets through all the way, that's 5 treasure tokens. Yeah. So that's insane. Next up is the Golden Argosy. 4 mana for a 3/6 legendary artifact vehicle. It says whenever Golden Argosy attacks, exile each creature that crewed it this turn, return them to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So you get a blink effect, and it has crew 1, so low crew cost, and you get the blink effect with them, so you can use creatures that care about them entering the battlefield, that are ETBs. So super useful vehicle that's decently powered and could be a good blocker. So hoo-ha! Next up is Sarah Redeemer. 2 white and 3 colorless for a 2/4 angel soldier with flying. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, put 2 +1/+1 counters on that creature. Oh, and yet another powerful angel creature. People are gonna like that. Not. Next up is Cosmic Epiphany. 2 blue and 4 for a sorcery that says draw cards equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Another card that cares about instants and sorceries in your graveyard. Okay, we have Tyrannical Pitlord. 2 black and 4 colorless for a 6/6 demon with flying and trample. As Tyrannical Pitlord enters the battlefield, choose another creature you control. The chosen creature gets +3/+3 and has flying. When Tyrannical Pitlord leaves the battlefield, sacrifice the chosen creature. So you get kind of linked up with another creature, but it gets +3/+3 and flying. So if you have that creature out, you basically have 9/9 going. It's a total of 9. Well, even more than that, because most creatures are at the minimum of. So you got like 10 power coming at you, flying, and he has trample. Good luck blocking that. Okay, you have Ragefire Hellkite, which is 2 red and 4 colorless for a 5/3 dragon with flying. Whenever Ragefire Hellkite attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, Ragefire Hellkite gains double strike until end of turn. Yeah, that could be useful. Okay. Next up is Briar Hydra. 1 green and 5 for a 6/6 plant Hydra with trample that has domain. Whenever Briar Hydra deals combat damage to a player, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Okay. That's good for single color, but if you're playing multicolor, you're putting lots of counters on a creature. So yeah. Next up is Join Forces, and it's 1 white and 2 colorless for an instant that says untap up to 2 target creatures. They each gains +2/+2 until end of turn. So it can be used for blockers or for attackers, and you can untap them and use them as blockers later. Okay. Next up is Cut Down. For 1 black mana, an instant that says destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. So that's fun. Cheap removal spell for, some smaller creatures. Next up is Torsten, Founder of Benelia. A beefy 1 green, 1 white, and 5 colorless for a 7/7 legendary human soldier. When Torsten, Founder of Benelia, enters the battlefield, reveal the top 7 cards of your library. Put any number of creature and or land cards from among them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When Torsten dies, create 7 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. So he can be useful. Late game card. Okay, next up is Shannon, Purifying Blade. And this will be my last card for this video. Shannon, Purifying Blade is 1 green, 1 white, 1 blue for a 3/3 legendary human warrior with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay X colorless mana. If you do, draw X card. X can't be greater than the amount of life gained this turn. So, useful card draw, and lifelink. So, wonderful thing. I've got to end the video. I'm at just over 17 minutes. So, see you on the next video.